The Royal Gelatin Hour, directed by Rudy Vallee. Presenting Miriam Hopkins, Ramon Navarro, Dr. Rockwell, Francis Fuller, Red Skelton, Tommy Riggs, and Betty Lou Barry.
Everybody, this is Rudy Vallee and Company. We point with pride tonight to a noble list of names, a set of charming people well worthy of your undivided attention through the next round of the clock. Miriam Hopkins and Francis Fuller will be heard in a novel playlet from the increasingly capable typewriter of Agnes Ridgway. Ramon Navarro, who has just come back to the screen after a period of retirement abroad, makes his first appearance since his return. Doc Rockwell is down again from Boothbay Harbor, where, for the past 2 weeks, he has entertained our Mr. McNamee as a vacation guest, thus proving that he really did mean it when he publicly invited Graham up to Maine. Red Skelton is a promising youngster from the variety stage, a native of Vincennes, Indiana, and we think a young fellow on the way up. Tommy Riggs and his little Betty Lou are held over from last week, their first appearance having created considerable sensation on all sides. The Yankees back from Atlantic City, where we played for 3 days, and here's good old Graham back from the wilds of Maine, looking fit as a fiddle, brown as a berry, and smart as a whip. The summary, Graham?
In our midst this evening are Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou Barry, Red Skelton, Dr. Rockwell, the old so-and-so, Francis Fuller, and Miriam Hopkins.
Warner Brothers, using Fred Waring and his band with Dick Powell as nucleus, think they've made the finest collegiate musical yet to come out of Hollywood. Here's a grand tune from it, Love is on the Air Tonight, and Fred Waring's Warner Brothers Varsity Show. Love is on the air tonight, and it's on a heart-to-heart hookup. Love is everywhere tonight. Better look your coziest nook up. Each station throughout the nation will have a song coming through. So if your set works, the major networks will do your wooing for you. You should never sing to her if a song is not hale and hearty. You may sound like Bing to her, but suppose she likes Charlie McCarthy. If some crooner from old Altoona,
If I listen from Manhattan, from Turkey, from Albuquerque.
If some tomato from South Decatur.
if some pony from old Tyrone can tell her better than you, why should you care? As long as love is on the air tonight. We are intensely gratified by the warm reception you accorded Tommy Riggs and little Betty Lou on their first appearance here last week. Something tells me Tommy and Betty are going to be with us for some time. Betty, I should tell you, is an imaginary little girl, but a very real little girl at the same time. Tommy does both voices, his own and Betty's. The comparison with Edgar Bergen is obvious, but not especially accurate. For one thing, Mr. Riggs is not a ventriloquist. Incidentally, among last week's fan responses was a telegram from Charlie McCarthy reading, "Dear Betty, why don't you come over and play in my yard?" Look out for that lad, Betty. You can't trust him for a minute. Enter now Tommy Riggs, who brings with him Betty Lou Barry.
Say, Betty, come here.
Oh, gee whiz, Mr. Tommy. I thought I was going to be late.
Well, as a matter of fact, you were late, young lady.
You were, huh?
Yes, you were, but what made you so late?
Well, you're not mad at me, are you, Mr. Tommy?
Well, now, young lady, I don't know.
Well, what would you do if I didn't come at all?
Uh-oh.
But I'm awful glad to be here, even if I am late, because it's better to be late than to get there before you arrive, don't you think so?
Yes, I think so, young lady, but on the other hand, you should always be punctual.
No, I don't think that's right, Mr. Tommy, at all.
You don't? Why not?
Because that's what happened to my daddy, and he didn't like it at all.
Well, just how do you mean?
Because Mommy and Daddy and I went to ride in the automobile, and just when everything was all right, Daddy had a puncture, and he didn't like it at all.
But by the way, Betty, where'd you get all that mud on your shoes?
Oh, that. Well, you know Bobby.
Bobby? Oh, you mean the little boy who lives next door?
Yes, because it's all his fault because I have mud on my shoes.
Bobby's fault? What'd he do? Push you into the mud?
No, he didn't push me into the mud.
Oh, well, why is it Bobby's fault then?
Well, because we were walking along, and all of a sudden we came to a whole bunch of mud puddles.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to Bobby, let's play that you are Sir Walter Raleigh, and you put your coat down so that I can step on it, too.
Oh, I see, and Bobby didn't want to do that.
No, he wasn't a gentleman like Sir Walter Raleigh was.
Well, Betty, you wouldn't want Bobby to get his coat all over mud, and then when he got home, he got spanking just because you wanted to play Sir Walter Raleigh.
Well, maybe Sir Walter Raleigh got a spanking when he got home, but he put his coat down anyway, see?
There we are. I see, Betty.
Oh, but what did you do today, Mr. Tommy?
Well, Betty,
I bet you had an awful good time, didn't you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. As a matter of fact,
Oh, I think it's a whole bunch of fun, don't you, too?
Now, wait a minute, young lady. Would you like to have me tell you what I did?
Yes, Mr. Tommy, I'd like to know what you did today.
Well, I got up this morning and took a long walk through Central Park.
Did you go to the zoo?
Yes, and after that, I went over to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and I saw some wonderful pictures.
Oh, did you see Shirley Temple and Willie Winky? She's cute, too.
Oh, young lady, it wasn't that kind of a picture.
Oh.
Then after I left the museum, I was walking back to my hotel, and I saw a very bad collision.
A what?
A collision.
Well, what is a collision, Mr. Tommy?
Well, honey, a collision is, well, for instance, when two things come together.
When two things come together, that's a collision, huh?
Yeah. Yes, young lady, when two things come together, that's a collision.
Oh, well, they had a collision at Patty's Jane's house last night.
They did?
Yes, Patty's mommy had twins.
Ah, dear me, young lady.
Oh, but gee whiz, Mr. Tommy, on account I was so late, I didn't say hello to Mr. Vallee, did I?
No, and I think perhaps you'd better run over and say hello to him, too.
Yes, because he bought me an ice cream soda, and you only buy me ice cream cones. But I like ice cream cones. Oh, hello, Mr. Vallee.
Hello, Betty. I haven't seen you for some time.
Yes, it's been an awful long time, and... and I was so lonesome for you.
Lonesome for me?
Yes, weren't you lonesome for me, too?
Yes, of course I was, Betty.
Then I guess we were lonesome for each other, weren't we?
That's right. But tell me, Betty, what have you been doing since I last saw you?
Oh, I've been having an awful bunch of fun. But I've been a very good girl, Mr. Vallee.
Yes, I'm sure you have, Betty.
Have you been a good boy, too?
Well, Betty, I've tried to be.
Hey, well, you'd better be awfully good, because did you know that Santa Claus was in town?
Santa Claus in town now?
Yes, but he was at our house today, too.
Oh, did you see him?
No, I didn't see him, but I heard him talking about that big radio that he sent to our house for Christmas.
I imagine he wanted to see if it was working all right.
No, I don't think so, because he said if Daddy didn't pay for it pretty soon, he's going to take it back.
By the way, Betty, since you've been such a good little girl, I'm going to buy you another ice cream soda.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Mr. Vallee, but I would like for you to buy me a great big horse better.
A great big horse?
Yes, because then you can do like the cowboys do if you want to.
Like the cowboys do?
Yes, sir. They wave their hats and they go wahoo, wahoo, and everything, don't you?
Don't I what?
Well, wahoo like Mr. Tommy and I do, because we know a song about cowboys wahooing. And would you like for Mr. Tommy and me to sing it for you if you did?
That would be fine.
Mr. Tommy, do you want to wahoo with me for Mr. Vallee?
All righty, Betty. What do you say we wahoo?
Well, you do it first, huh?
Yes, I'll do it first.
Oh, give me a horse, a great big horse, and give me a buffalo, and let me wahoo, wahoo, wahoo. Oh, give me a rag, a big pair of pants, and give me a Skelton too, and let me wahoo, wahoo, wahoo.
Give me the wide open spaces, for I'm just like a prairie flower, growing wilder every hour.
Oh, give me a moon, a fairy moon, give me a tell what's true, and let me wahoo, wahoo, wahoo.
Oh, don't you care that I'd follow your heart to heaven knows where? Even though I'm wild, I won't let you go. You're my dream of a wonderful future. You're my castle in the air. Don't you know? Oh, don't you care? Presenting now Miriam Hopkins with Francis Fuller in Mrs. Clifford Received by Agnes Ridgway. I don't know why it is that with all the high-powered dressmakers in Hollywood, picture actresses need to come to New York to buy clothes, but whatever the reason, we're thankful it exists, because it enables us to bring you important people like Miriam Hopkins, a visitor in our town. Miss Fuller also divides her time between the coasts. She was seen most recently on Broadway in Excursion. And so Miriam Hopkins with Francis Fuller in Mrs. Clifford Receives. The scene is Mrs. Clifford's boudoir. It is a very luxurious room furnished in the French manner. As the curtain rises, we find Mrs. Clifford lying on the chaise lounge. She wears a very handsome negligee, and except for a pronounced pallor, she is the very beautiful Mrs. Allen Dobson Clifford, whose picture has so often looked out at us from the society pages of the New York papers. Her maid hovers solicitously, adjusting a pillow, tucking in an end of a silken coverlet. Mrs. Clifford